Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the PG Show, where, well, we talk about all things college football. Know a lot of you guys are hopping in my Twitter mentions about the Colorado content, the Florida Gators. But hey, listen, we're here to talk about all of the teams. And today we're going to talk about Arizona State, Colorado, Oklahoma, and many others. And today I am joined by Jay with Unfair Sports. How you doing today?
What's going on, PG? Love joining the show as usual. I appreciate you bringing me on the live stream. What's going on, all the peoples?
All right. Well, it's the end of the year for me at work. It's a Friday, 5 o'clock. So I'm not going to lie. I'm a little worn out, but I'm excited to talk some college football. And there's a lot of off-season drama is what I'm calling it today. So Alabama, their offensive coordinator search is over, which thank gosh, we don't have to hear any more Lebby rumors here in Oklahoma. Sooner fans should feel happy on that part. But they got Tommy Rees, the actually a former quarterback for Notre Dame, and ended up being the offensive coordinator there. So a little bit of backstory. He came out of the class of 2010. He played at Notre Dame for some time, ended up going undrafted to the Washington Redskins, was on their practice squad only, but then became a graduate assistant at Northwestern in 2015. Went to be an offensive assistant at the San Diego Chargers. That is so weird to say. San Diego Chargers in 2016.
Superchargers.
And then went to
San
go be a quarterbacks
Diego.
coach in 2017 through 2019 for Notre Dame, and then ultimately became the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2020 through 2022. And his offenses weren't terrible. And I think you talked about it. The best quarterback that he maybe worked with was Ian Book. Now, Notre Dame has not been known for their quarterbacks. They have one in 2024 that I think they're really excited for in CJ Carr, but that actually is interesting because I think Alabama has now positioned themselves to maybe go out there and get a 5-star quarterback for 2024. And maybe if Drew Pine doesn't work out at Arizona State and they need a tenured quarterback, Drew Pine could potentially enter the portal after the spring and say, hey, take me at Alabama. I'll be your tenured quarterback there. So this this intrigues me a little bit because I don't know a lot about Tommy Rees, but I know that when I watch a Notre Dame game, I don't see them just blowing the doors off people on the offensive side of the ball. This year, they only averaged 31.8 points per game. And on the offense, they only average 396 yards a game. Now, with Alabama, you're taking a huge step up in talent. I mean, I don't think that should be understated. Huge step up from Notre Dame. You're getting 5-star wide receivers, 5-star running backs, quarterbacks, offensive linemen. He should be able to do something with that. I feel like I could go out there with my left pinky and quote or coach the Alabama offense, but yeah, that's a story for a whole nother day. What's your thoughts here around the Alabama hire of Tommy Rees as their offensive coordinator?
So first off, I dropped a video in regards to Lebby not going there, and I made the point of it's a lateral move for him to go there. Now, there's other factors that could make it not a lateral move, so I'll keep it a buck and say, yeah, I totally get if those other factors came in for him to go there. But that was kind of one of the big things was Lebby's not going to leave his alma mater to go coach as an OC at another school when he passed up on head coaching jobs in G5, and he potentially passed up an opportunity to go to the NFL. I'm not going to say where, but I've had a few sources tell me, and it wasn't one, it was multiple that said, hey, we heard that he was reached out to interview for an OC job in the NFL and he passed on it. And so if that's the case, there's no reason for Lebby to go to go to Alabama and take that job. And so I knew that didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense for him to leave his alma mater to go there. And so now with Alabama picking up Tommy Rees, that kind of made sense. What shocked me about it is I'll say two things on it. First off, Rees was his first time as offensive coordinator. He was the OC for that Notre Dame team that got destroyed by Alabama in the college football playoffs. So he's helped a quarterback lead the team to a playoff berth, and he's really creative. Like I was talking to our boy Ty Hayes over Around the Table Sports, Alabama fan, great content. You should check him out as well. He was talking about how the one thing that jumped out to him the most was the creativity from the quarterback. from Rees, creativity in the offensive sets. One of the things they didn't see at Alabama. And so I knew why Alabama targeted Levy's, because he gave them a glimpse of creativity that they didn't have the last couple years with a OC like Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien's an NFL guy. So he's thinking everybody's an NFL player, and he's coaching them like they're NFL players, and it doesn't work that way. Guys have to develop over time into the mindset of what you do in the NFL, or be taught once they show they have the talent at that level. It's not something that you just walk in and do. And so because of that, Bill O'Brien wasn't calling he wasn't calling plays to leverage the talent discrepancy on the field. That's really what the problem was. And if you hear Ty talk about it, he's talked about it numerous times on his channel, talk about those 6-yard curls. Yeah, if you see it, if it looks like this, if they're backing off, run a 6-yard curl. No, don't do that. So for the most part, that's where I saw the Levy interest, and it made sense. You go after what you like. You go after a player that looks good. And buddy of mine, Jason Walker, made mention of this, not to be too long-winded on this, but I think this was fascinating. He was talking about how he felt like Nick Saban was targeting Oklahoma on purpose, not because he's afraid, but he would like to keep them crippled so they don't become a problem. And he makes great points with that because of twofold. One, Levy was the OC at Ole Miss, and they did give his defense some problems. Lane Kiffin understands Saban. Levy understands Saban from working in proxy. They understand him. The second thing is Brent Venables won 2 national championships with his defense against Alabama, some of the really good Alabama teams. So because of that, you're dealing with 2 guys that have an ability to compete against you at the highest level, especially once they get the talent to go with it. So it makes sense to go after that coach if you can prevent them from rising too much, rising too fast. And so that last thing with that is that it shows you the respect that Levy has around the country. Like, if Nick Saban wants you, Sooner fans should be happy with what we got. Not saying the man's perfect. We all got our criticism of him as OC, but overall, he's done a fantastic job keeping us a top 15 offense. Not something you get very often. So, because of that, we should appreciate what we got and let Levy go out there and do his thing on the offensive side. We got some great recruits coming in. Next season's going to be ridiculously fun. So, makes sense for him to go after Tommy Rees, and it still shocks me that he picked Alabama over LSU when Brian Kelly tried to bring him from the beginning. He's like, nah, I'm going to stay. I guess he kind of saw the writing on the wall because they ain't had no quarterback in a couple years.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you talked about Levy being able to keep OU as a top 15 offense. I think it's important for Oklahoma fans to understand when Lincoln Riley left us, apparently this program was supposed to die, crash and burn. Our offense was going to fall through a hole. Levy had us at number 13. And I believe that with Nick Saban being able to go out there and throw Jeff Levy's name in the hat for the potential offensive coordinator role at Alabama, you want to use that on the recruiting trail, because if the best coach of all time wants you on his staff, yeah, I'm using that at every meeting that I go.
I'm making a lapel. I'm gonna put a lapel right here that says Nick Saban recruited me.
Yeah,
Nick Saban interviewed me or something.
An award.
But you're not wrong. I mean, yeah, that's a badge of honor. That means that you're respected. Because Saban doesn't try to go after everybody. He's pretty meticulous about who he hires. I'm really surprised that the only thing that surprises me about the Rees hire is that there are so many coaches that have lost their jobs that are really good at offense that he didn't go after. I'm surprised Dan Mullen didn't end up on the list. I'm surprised Scott Frost isn't there right now. Frost might be an analyst right now. I'm just surprised that we're not hearing about him there as well. You would think that with the success he's had with former head coaches with really good systems that have come in, I'm surprised that he did not go after him completely.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how long the Tommy Rees thing is going to last, because if Cliff Kingsbury ever comes back from the Netherlands or wherever he's at, I would bet you my bottom dollar that Nick Saban's picking up that phone and calling Cliff Kingsbury to come be an analyst or come be something on his staff. And honestly, that was the one that I thought maybe should have happened in the first place. But you had heard rumors of Garrett Riley, which ultimately he ends up at Clemson,
which is crazy to me.
That I thought that maybe they should have tested the waters on, and I don't know if they did or not. This would be interesting to ask Ty. Is Jeff Scott, and I know he's now back at Clemson, but Jeff Scott was an enormous, just an extremely good recruiter during his time at Clemson. Ultimately became the head coach at USF and then got fired. But if you look at Clemson, their offense was prolific while Jeff Scott was there. As soon as he left, that Clemson offense really just took a nosedive and it just wasn't good anymore. And so that's kind of the direction that I thought Nick Saban should have went. But we'll see how this Tommy Rees stuff lines out, because I could be completely wrong and Nick Saban could show me I know nothing about college football.
Yeah, you know, and I, like I said, Saban does what he does for a reason. He's very meticulous about it. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm stoked to see what they look like next season, especially since, you know, we'll talk about a little bit later when about the SEC news.